This video will show the process of scheduling in OneChart. This process should only be followed by clinical associates if the patient is established. If the patient requires an interpreter, address, phone number, or insurance revision, the patient should be scheduled by an RPR to ensure accurate information is on file for optimal service. The first step to scheduling is to enter the scheduling appointment book. You can open this from PowerChart by selecting Patient Reminders and Schedule. Our first scenario that we're going to work through scheduling is the physician comes out with Bruce Banner, the patient, and states he needs an appointment for 2 weeks for a follow-up for his medication check. The first thing you're going to do is go to your Appointment tab. First, we need to search for the patient. You'll click on the ellipsis next to the person's name and search in all caps using the proper search method, which is partial last name, date of birth, and checking your Assume Wildcards box. Remember that we should never select a medical record number that begins with a 99. We should always look for a medical record number that begins with a 1. Our patient is selected. We'll go ahead and press OK. Our first field is filled out. The second field we need to fill out is our appointment location. These always start with VCC, and when you see an ellipsis on the end, that means something must be selected from the list. You can either click on the 3 dots and see everything listed there, or you can start to type in pieces of your appointment location. We're going to use East 21st as our location today. And then we're going to select family medicine. We're working in the family medicine office with Dr. Narenberger. Next is going to be our appointment type. They're listed alphabetical with a long name and an abbreviated name. We are going to schedule a short office visit for our patient. Next is your provider. Provider will always display like this with all resources. There needs to be just one provider listed in this provider field. Again, you can click the ellipsis next to it to see the listing, or you can start typing the name in the field. Press your enter button to have your resource help pop up, and then select your provider. Your reason for visit. This indicates why the patient is being seen. Do not use special characters. Our patient is coming in for a medication recheck. The next 3 fields are for your appointment reminder through Televox. We are going to answer these 3 fields with yes, primary phone. The second field is always going to be left blank. That is pulling from OneChart, the phone number, and then we need to pick a preferred language, which options are either English or Spanish. This last one is scheduling comments. This is a communication tool with the front desk for check-in. We would put things here, for example, like okay to double book, or if the patient needs to go to lab first. We are going to put that the patient needs to go to lab first since they're having a medication check. Followed by our initials. The next step to scheduling is going to be to move the information to the work in progress window. Once all your accept format fields are filled out, you click the move button and it moves the information over here into the work in progress. Notice the white open books. That means that the patient's book is open and the provider's book is open for an appointment, but we still need to select a date and time. We're going to go through the 3 methods of scheduling. The first one is suggest. With suggest, you come here and you click the suggest button. It opens up an additional suggested schedules window. Here you can select if you want to schedule the patient in a certain amount of days, if you want to do it within the next 7 days here, or you can select a certain day of the week. Whichever is bolded are the days it will look for. If you decide that you need to look at a different range, you can come down here and you can simply click the clear, and that will open everything back up. So we're going to do schedule in 2 weeks as the doctor requested and hit our suggest button. Over here to the side, we'll see appointments come up in 2 weeks. We find what works for the patient. We're going to select this 9:50 appointment here on May 6th, and we're going to double click. That gives us our red check mark beside indicating that that appointment has been chosen, and we'll go ahead and press OK. Now, if we look back here in our work in progress, we can see that there's red closed books, which means the appointment has been scheduled, but it has not yet been confirmed. That is our last step to scheduling. So we'll come here and we'll click our confirm button. We'll have this confirmation window come up. We simply press OK. This is going to have you enter the ambulatory pre-reg conversation. We need to fill out all of the yellow fields here to information tab. This is simply verifying the primary care physician. So we verify that it is Dr. Nierenberger, and we come here to the verified PCP field and we're going to push yes. The second field that we have to complete is under our primary insurance tab. If we scroll down, we see this verify status. We have to make sure that this is pending. This allows the insurance to be verified prior to the patient's appointment. Once we've completed those two fields, we simply click complete. It pulls up our box to tell us that it's created us a FIN. We press OK. And now we can see that we have a scheduled appointment for our patient. What we're always looking for is for it to be blue and confirmed. Scenario, we are going to work with a patient. The provider comes out and asks us to schedule Carol Danvers to come in tomorrow for a recheck of an abscess. The patient says they can't come in until 9 o'clock or later. For this scenario, we're going to use the scheduling of drag and drop. So the first thing we need to do is select our appointment tab again. And then we're going to search for our patient. We click the ellipsis next to the person name, pull up our search box, first three letters of the last name, and their date of birth, and check assume wildcards. Search for our patient. We see them here in the system. We're going to go ahead and do OK. Our appointment location, remember, is always going to start with VCC. So we are going to find East 21st. We're working with Dr. Nierenberger still today. Family medicine. And then for our appointment type, we're going to use a short office visit. So SOV, we can just type in and select our enter key, and that selects that for us. Next is our provider. We're going to go ahead and put in Dr. Nierenberger, select our enter key, and select that provider. For visit, it's going to be abscess recheck. We're going to skip over referring physician. This is only used in the specialty office. And we're going to do yes, primary phone for our telebox. Remember, the next three fields are our telebox. It's going to pull the phone number from here, so we can leave preferred contact information blank. Preferred language, we're going to go ahead and do English. And then remember, our scheduling comments is just our communication with the front desk, which for this visit, there's nothing we need to put. So our next step is going to be move. Then we're going to look at the schedule, and he wants her to come in the next day. So we're on the 22nd here, so we need to look at something for the 23rd, and the patient said they could come in at 9 o'clock or after. So if we look at 9 o'clock, we see that this is an acute visit. So we cannot schedule a short office visit in this acute slot. So we're going to need to look down some into the next section of slots, which is going to be an any visit. We can schedule a short office visit in this slot. So you will click on your provider, hold your left click down, and drag into the slot you're looking for. And we can see now that this patient is in the 9:20. If you are scheduling an appointment into an incorrect slot, you will receive a slot not valid error message. If the provider has approved you scheduling the patient here, you can go ahead and override and make a note that it was approved. If not, you will need to cancel and select a new day and time. You'll see now that the books are red and closed, so our last step for this purple pending appointment is we need it to be confirmed, so we need to select our confirm button. We click OK through our confirmation screen, and this takes us into the ambulatory pre-reg conversation. Remember, we need to complete two fields in this conversation. The first one is on our encounter information. We verify Dr. Nierenberger is the PCP, and we go ahead and select yes. Then we go to our insurance primary tab, and we need to look to make sure that verify status is pending. It's pending, so we can go ahead and do complete and complete our scheduling. It pulls us up the box that gives us our FIN number. We press OK. And then we can see here that it takes us to our short office visit that we just scheduled. You have now scheduled your second patient. The last method of scheduling that we will review is using our schedule button. Our scenario is that we receive a message from a patient, Peter Parker, that they are having pain after a motor vehicle accident. The doctor okays you to double book the appointment at 15:30. If we look on our schedule, we can see that today on 4/22/20, there's already a patient scheduled at this time. So we will need to use our schedule button to double book the patient. So the first thing we're going to do is come here and click on our ellipsis and search for the patient. First three of the last name, followed by the date of birth. Our Assume Wildcards is already checked, and we're going to search. We see the patient here, and we're going to click OK. Our next field is our appointment location. Always starts with VCC, and we're going to do East 21st Family Med. Select our Enter button to select. Appointment type. We are going to schedule this as a short office visit per the doctor's instructions. And it's Dr. Nierenberger. Reason for visit, we're going to do MVA neck pain. No punctuation, only spaces and the reason for visit. We're going to skip over referring physician, that's for a specialty office. And do you want a reminder for this appointment? This is our telebox question, so they can get a reminder. We're going to put yes, primary phone, leave preferred contact empty, and do preferred language of English. Scheduling comments, we're going to make a note here that it was okay to double book per provider with our initials. Next step is to move into the work in progress window. We see our wide open books, which means we need to find an appointment time that works for this patient. We know that the doctor has approved an appointment today on the 22nd at 15:30. Use our schedule button to schedule. We will select schedule. It will pull up a secondary box that has schedule. The first thing we're going to look at is our resource and make sure the provider and the date is correct. Since we're double booking, it's not going to recognize that that slot is available, so we're going to need to change our default slot to none. And then we're going to need to put in the time that we're scheduling the patient, which is going to be 15:30. And then we also need to make sure we have the correct duration. A short office visit for this provider is 10 minutes. So we put in 10 minutes and press OK. It is giving us a conflict box to tell us that somebody else is already in that slot. The provider has okayed us to double book, so we're going to go ahead and put override. It's going to ask us for an override reason, and we're going to put approved override. And then we're going to make a comment, provider okay to double book, and select OK. Now we can see that the patient is scheduled, but they're scheduled outside of the slot. Notice that this patient, Peter Parker, is still purple and pending, so there's one more step we need, and that's to confirm the appointment. So we'll press our confirm button. Gives us our confirmation window. We're going to press OK. We need to fill out two fields in our ambulatory pre-reg conversation. The first one is under encounter information, verifying that the PCP still is Dr. Nierenberger and putting yes. Insurance primary tab. We need to come down here and make sure that the verify status is listed as pending. Once those two fields are complete, we can hit our complete button. Gives us our box to show us our FIN number. And now we have our patient scheduled for their appointment.